What's going on, everybody? It's Tom.
And it's Jamie. Welcome to the Chronicles of Podcast.
The Chronicles of Bloodstock 2024.
We are members of Disposable, thrash band from Edinburgh. I'm Billy, I'm the bass player and the vocalist.
I'm Jack and I play guitar.
And it's an absolute pleasure to have Scottish representation on this show. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here.
Absolutely, thanks for having us.
Not at all. It's absolutely wonderful. How are your personal Fridays treating you?
It's been pretty incredible so far, to be honest. We were off to a flying start. It was like we're first on the New Blood stage this morning, so it was a really early start. Lots of just get up and go-ness to the whole day, really. So before we had a chance to really think about anything, we were backstage getting ready to do the thing, which it's kind of nerve-wracking going on so early and first, just generally, it's before we usually do anything in a day, let alone play a gig. But the turnout was kind of incredible. It couldn't have been much busier than it was. It was energetic in there, so yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Jack?
Yeah, it was class. It was awesome. I think being so early as well, like we weren't really sure. We've never been to Bloodstock before, even as punters.
Well, welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah,
it's such an immaculate vibe.
Yeah.
Straight away. Walked in last night and we were kind of like, why haven't we been here every year forever? But yeah, so like we weren't really sure what to expect with this morning. Kind of like we have a whole fucking inflatable shark fucking shtick during our set.
Amazing.
So I'm kind of haven't even made a sound on my guitar yet. Blowing up sharks, turn around and there's already loads of people looking at me and I'm like, oh yeah, cunt. It was cool. And then we had a wee power cut quite like halfway through our first song.
Oh fuck!
Which was really scary. But then by that point you're kind of like, well, it's cool. Everything's class from here on in, man.
It's almost like Mastermind. I've started, so I'll finish.
Really class morning.
Good. No, I'm pleased. I'm pleased to hear it. And obviously the sun's been unbelievable. The weather's been incredible here today. So
Totally, I'm burning. I feel like my shoulders are
yeah,
getting
dude. I feel you. I'm with you. Being a redhead and Scottish, it's just like fucked. I'm surprised not talking to you as a puddle. Like, you know what I mean? So, but going on early must be kind of daunting in a way because obviously you think, are people hungover? Are they not going to be? They're still asleep, that sort of thing. So like the beautiful thing with Bloodstock is that fans will come and watch regardless of what time it is, regardless of how fucked they are, regardless of how tired they are. So yeah, it's good to hear that you had a nice crowd.
I think it's one of those things we kind of thought as well. It was like, we've heard a few people saying it's an awesome slot. We were kind of trying to find people that had played that slot, any interviews by them for previous years. But like if anyone, I think we're like you were saying, you're going to hit up whoever gets the slot next year and be like, here, don't worry about it. It's honestly fucking class.
You heard that right?
Don't worry about it.
I mean, Simon said in his email to us, don't worry about the fact that you're on first. It's a notoriously good slot. And like, you've no reason not to believe it, but it is hard to believe at 10:30 that there's going to be all those people there. So you still take it with a pinch of salt. But right enough, because the gate wasn't even open when we were on the stage originally, like the gate to the main arena. So like no one is there. And then the gate opens and suddenly everybody's there. So in the space of about 2 minutes, you're going, oh, this went from really daunting to really exciting. Not that you're not excited to begin with, but do you know what I mean? Like your mind's at rest immediately when you see how many people just storm up to the stage and are just immediately waiting for you to start. And you're kind of going, sweet, this is all my worries.
Beautiful moment,
all my worries have gone until the power cut happened, and then they came back for maybe 5 minutes, and then the power came back on and they disappeared again. So
good. But compared to Disposable show to a Disposable festival set, do you change the setup accordingly? So if people aren't so familiar with yourself, say you just drop all the bangers in.
Kinda, yeah. I would say for this one we definitely put more effort into structuring a set that was maybe dynamically interesting. Because I mean, as a kind of thrash band, we've got a lot of songs that are about 4 minutes long and fast, so like we could put together a whole set of stuff like that, but we've also got quite a groovy sort of technical element to some of our releases, so we decided to just pick and choose all the ones that go down the best and just do a sort of greatest hits set, I guess.
I think it's kind of fun as well because like a lot of that stuff that goes down really well, we played it in Scotland a lot, so it's like, that's boring now, whereas everything's new to everyone here, so it's we can really cherry pick kind of all the catchy ones that have always gone down. No one here's bored of them yet, so.
And also just crowd interaction is a bit different at the festival vibe, especially in the morning where people are still half asleep essentially, and your job is to wake them up. But they're not necessarily wanting to mosh in shout their heads off for the first song, but by the time you get sort of 2/3 of the way through the set, everyone's sort of lubricated and ready to go. So it was really apparent that everyone warmed up with us, kind of thing. It's just a shame that the moment like you hit that peak, the half an hour is done, and you're just kind of like, wow, that went so fast, man.
I was about to say, I know you're enjoying it, so that means it felt like it's about 2 minutes long then. It just went so
Totally.
fast.
I mean, time stood still when the power cut happened. Just because you're kind of like, oh, what the fuck is happening? Because, I mean, if it took 20 minutes to get the power back on, our set would have been gone.
Yeah, they were on it though.
So they were very, very quick at getting it started. So within the space of 5 minutes, we were back playing again and forgotten about it. But
Cool.
it still goes very fast.
Like, does that mean we're going to have to cut things? And they're like, nah, like, you know, you've not done anything. Like, play your full set. And then you're kind of like, cool. Because I think they said before we started, they were like, all the crew and stuff, like, super helpful, super on it. And they were like, make sure you enjoy yourself. It's 30 minutes, but it goes so fast. But then it was sort of 45 minutes for us because of all the weird stuff that happened. It still went really fast. But it was like, it's going to be the shortest 30 minutes of your life. And it was kind of like the shortest, yeah.
Before you're going to have to Alex Terrible that thing and just shout it out to the fucking crowd and hope everyone hears you.
Yeah, well, the mics go down, so you can't even really explain anything either. So, like, you are kind of a bit of a dead duck when there's no power. So we just got a Mexican wave and kept doing the Mexican wave because it was the only thing that we could kind of organise for people to do.
I love that. Everything's gone to pot, what can we do? Mexican wave? Sorted.
We're a bit of a cursed band in that regard, so we're quite a well-oiled machine for how to act when disaster strikes.
I mean, that's a good
so
skill
long as you
there.
don't play the rest of your set with like a grimace on your face as if something's ruined, then you'll be fine. So long as you just like start smiling again immediately when you're back and take up where you left off instead of like letting it play with your head or something like that.
So us as a podcast, we're ambassadors for the Sophie Lancaster Foundation. Are you aware of Sophie and the story?
Yeah, for sure.
So we've been talking to people this weekend at the festival. So basically, we all know growing up, being part of this community, we went through shit. We had things thrown at us, whether that be physically or verbally. So what we're trying to find out now is if that has followed you into adulthood. So is this something that still happens with you today? Maybe at work, going to the doctors, or whatever it may be, just living your life where you're given a side eye, a snide comment, whatever it may be, because you've got piercings, tattoos, hair, whatever it may be. Is that something you still experience today?
Every now and again, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but when we were in high school, that was like the golden era of the Scottish Ned. You know, that it's not quite a thing that exists so much anymore. But just like the sort of person who would just chuck out abuse at someone for the way they looked.
Yeah.
I was probably lucky not to be on the receiving end of too much of it, but it was certainly something that was, if you didn't have your wits about you at high school where I was at, you were a metal fan and you were one of the goths or whatever.
Yeah.
Which was anyone who wore a black t-shirt became a goth. It's like not a true representation of what a goth is at all. But if you wore a metal band t-shirt, you were one of the goths, the goth kids.
Yeah.
If you didn't have your wits about you, you could kind of let other people interfere with that and you'd get a bit of a slagging. I was lucky in the sense that I kind of had those wits about me to snark back before anything got out of hand. But I've certainly, I feel like I've witnessed it a lot more than I've experienced it myself. But you've probably had a bit more experience with the guy that stole your shoes and shit.
Oh yeah.
Sorry to bring up your traumas.
Yeah. It's really weird because I was really into thrash, but I had Converse on, and apparently that was really emo. So some boy, it's funny, he actually does a podcast now. He's really lovely these days. He doesn't remember it, but he did batter me and chuck my shoes on the Edinburgh trail track. And it was cool because there was a bunch of other alternative dude that chipped in for a pair of shoes for me. But someone else told him about that, and he was like, he keeps saying, I really want to get you on my podcast. I've never had any mail yet. Also, what shoe size are you? And I'm like, dude, it was like 15 years ago. It's honestly fucking...
That's interesting though, because I guess it was more of like a civil war between alternative sub-genres.
And the weird thing was, I was well into thrash. They were just really elitist and didn't bother to ask what kind of music I like. You're an emo kid. I think nowadays I'm like lucky enough that I work in a metal bar. It always kind of, every one of my jobs is in the alt community anyway, so everyone's kind of looking out for each other. I'm a sort of retail guy. I've got like some tattoos and I wear the metal bands t-shirts occasionally at work and stuff like that. I kind of work in a nice sort of independently run shop in a nice area, so
a lot of people will come in and make a little bit of a judgment about you, but once they get to know you, and I think this goes for most, if not all, metalheads, is that really most people are gentle. Yeah, I think everyone looks kind of aggro and loud, but there's not actually that many people in the metal community that really fully live up to the look of a metalhead. Like everyone I know is actually just quite a quiet, gentle soul.
Yeah.
They've got this outlet for all their energy, and does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely it does. I always find it funny. It's like, you're actually all right, you are, aren't you? I thought you were going to be a bit funny, but
It's not actually.
Actually.
Well, like I'll like occasionally be like that cheeky bastard at work and like hand my business card to like some completely innocent person that's never listened to metal, just like who's being kind and taking an interest in the band that I'm in, because they'll ask me about my day and I'm saying I'm going down to play this festival, and they go, oh, what's the name of your band and all this, and you go through the polite conversation. I'm like, you will hate this, but if you want to listen to it, and everyone comes back and says, holy shit, you're such like a nice quiet boy though. I would never expect you to get up stage and do that, and kind of everyone I know who's in a band is a little bit like that to an extent. But yeah, we've maybe been lucky that we've never been bullied for the fact, but certainly witnessed it happen, yeah, for sure.
So obviously, when we were growing up, and 2007, what happened with Sophie, then you fast forward to 2024, the world is a very, very different place now. So do you think it's easier to grow up as part of this community now, or still challenges out there?
Maybe, yeah. I think just the way the world's going, at least. Well, you say that, but then I'm thinking about the riots that have just happened in England, and I'm going, is it actually going the way that I'm about to say that it's going? I think it's certainly inclusiveness maybe on the left-hand side of politics is going further left, and inexclusiveness on the right-hand side of politics is going further right, so the spectrum's kind of widening in that way. So I guess like certain people are perhaps even more open than they once were, in a sense, now than they've ever been, but maybe other people are even less tolerant of anything that's different to what they would consider to be normal. I don't know. There's definitely a sprog of young metalheads that have cropped up in Edinburgh
I think
recently, and they seem to all be quite confident, cool people.
Yeah. I think as well there's a lot of like kind of like alt chic sort of things that are pretty acceptable now. Like there's like so the bar that I work at, and on either side of us is a couple like poppy normie kind of bars, and you see like kids who are clearly like, you chat to them and they're like, what, this Mayhem t-shirt? I don't know, I just found it sort of thing, you know what I mean? Corpse paint and everything, and they're like, yeah, I'm here for like Bubblegum Tuesdays or whatever, and it's like proper like they don't listen to metal or heavy stuff, but they're quite comfortable with the piercings and the tattoos and the vibe, and it's a fashionable thing, so I guess it's easier to sort of, they're not going to get the same flack that you might have.
Certainly alternative fashion, like strictly speaking about the fashion, and maybe piercings and tattoos is maybe considered a lot less of an alternative thing now. Most people I know who are under 30 have got a piercing or a tattoo. I don't know, I come from that world of people that are more likely to have it, but there's certainly a lot of people that I know are not metalheads who have a whole bunch of tattoos, and it's more like an art expression thing. It's not necessarily like maybe in the 2000s where it was like, if you've got a sleeve tattoo, you're probably into metal. Like, it's not, I don't think that's quite the same as it once was. But yeah, I don't know, I'm not really young enough anymore to have my finger in that pie. But yeah, there's definitely a wave of young people that have started coming out to shows in Scotland that seem to be quite confident with the way that they are. But I think it comes down to the individual as well. Some people are just very confident and they'll dress in whatever they want and they don't give a shit what anyone has to say. Other people are, expressing themselves through their fashion because they don't feel comfortable to do it with words, or there's a whole variety of different things. So it probably comes down to the individual, and if you get the wrong two together, all of a sudden one person might be very vulnerable in that situation.
Absolutely. I remember seeing a video on the cursed TikTok app not long ago, and there was this girl who'd been like, de-gothing myself for work, and the comments were like, why the fuck are you de-gothing yourself? That's you.
Yeah.
Just go to work.
I think in the workplace as well, there's definitely more acceptance to, like, when I first got some tattoos and piercings, my dad, in fact more likely my mum to be fair, was probably like, oh, you'll not get a job like this or a job like that. And I'm kind of like, I don't think the world is like that anymore, unless you're maybe working a very specific brand or something that maybe are such a big brand with such a specific look that they're willing to just be arseholes about it and not care. But I think generally speaking, in the workplace, it's probably more acceptable now than it's ever been to look alternative, I guess.
Yeah. So, bringing it back to yourselves, brand new album out in November. How excited are we for the release?
Super excited. Probably more excited than I've been to release anything in a long time. To be honest. Okay. It's very different to what we've been doing for a while. The kind of concept that we had, we almost wanted to do like a split with ourselves. Billy used to do a lot of the writing, and it was kind of like, what if we don't do this big like high production kind of thing, and we just, everyone gets 3 or 4 songs, they get like last say on that, they write their own songs, we write them within a week. And the original idea was like, you go in, you write your songs, you record them, and you release them at the end of that week. That was 7 years ago. We fucking lockdown happened. We
Welcome to the way we function.
But then we got around to like, we were trying to figure out what to do next, and Billy just kind of went ahead and wrote a whole shit ton of his songs. And he was like, well, I've had these for ages, you all better hurry up and write your songs. So it's very kind of stripped back, punky. We've always been quite punky in ethos, but a lot more kind of like, it's more about the message than about the sort of musical technicality, if you like.
I think we just wanted to get away from really like overworking music to the point where, you know, stuff was either became too complicated or too hard to play, or the message wasn't clear or something like that. So we just wanted to make a conscious effort to do something that was a lot more stripped back and to the point musically, to the point lyrically, like have our opinions on things more apparent in the lyrics and stuff like that. But yeah, that was 7 years ago, and we got sidetracked by a bunch of other projects and stuff, just because it was almost a little bit of a novelty idea when we first came up with it. So it went on the back burner when a more serious idea came along. But then I guess currently we've all just been trying to wear our emotions and our opinions on our sleeve a little bit more in general, just in life, just making a stand on things instead of just being silent on matters that we care about. And I would never ever go for someone for wanting to stay politically neutral, but I think we just want to one step in the direction that we actually belong, and put that into the music.
I think as well, we've always been somewhat politically driven and opinionated, but we've always wrapped it up in a metaphor or a story or something, because it's like, you don't want to touch that. And then we were the album's called It's Blood That Trickles Down. It's kind of a play on the whole trickle-down economics thing being a fucking sham and everyone's struggling. It's kind of, it's a bit more in your face, like, we're all kind of having a hard time sort of thing, you know?
But definitely excited to release it, just because it's so different. It is so different, and I think some people, at least different by our standards, I guess, but it'll probably throw quite a lot of people off in terms of that's not what I thought they would do with the next album, which again is cool, because it's nice to throw a curveball out there and stuff every now and again. Most bands try and get technically better as they go on, whereas we've kind of went, let's get fucking technically worse here, and see what happens, see where that road takes us.
Incredible. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time out and chat with us. Really
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a great weekend.
Have a good one. Cheers.
Hello, I'm Mike from Absolence.
I am Chris from Absolence.
We are both from Absolence.
We will now do this interview like robots. How was your personal Friday been?
Manic. Everyone's all over the place. The guitarist is coming here with the gear in like 5-10 minutes. Really late.
Fuck.
Rock and roll.
That's the way to do it, is it right?
Yeah, if we're not having panic attacks, this is not rock and roll.
We must be fashionably late, but to the point where we almost have nothing to use to play with.
A bongo, that'll do. Metal!
So, our set is going to be consisting of a bongo, a kettle drum, and a flute. So, I hope you all enjoy.
Screams and cleans with a bongo. This is Absolence.
I feel like that needs to happen now. I really want to hear that.
Mate, sum it up, it's a nightmare, but once we're on stage, that's when we'll turn it on.
Are you looking forward to it?
Yes and no. Can't wait to be over.
What, really? Why?
Oh, it's just been stressful.
Just because of all this, what's going on at the moment?
What's going on? What you have to do to get here? You have to up your game like 100%. You have to just get dead organised, and yeah, a little bit of nerves. But we've done this hundreds of times now. So when I'm sitting behind the kit, it'll all come good.
Yeah, exactly. It's just on a bigger stage. Do you know what I mean? So, what do you think?
This is all new to me, so I'm just taking in the sights and just enjoying every moment that our music has brought us here. So
I just found out my wife and my 13-year-old daughter have just sneaked and surprise attacked me. Like, they weren't meant to be here, and now they are.
Oh, mate, that must feel incredible, though.
Yeah, all the girls that have been chatting up, they've got to go now. Like, those bitches at my tent have got to go.
Do we need to edit this bit out, or do we need to?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, okay, well, that is right. We've got you back. You're okay. So,
Love you, Soph. Hashtag forever queen.
So, compared to an Absolence show, to an Absolence festival set, did you set this up accordingly so that people aren't so familiar with yourselves? You may just drop in all the fucking bangers?
Yep, we dropped a song. We've been consistent throughout the whole year, getting ready for a show like this. We dialed one song back so we can have a bit more time in between breather, because it's our 30 minutes is 30 minutes on the dot. Yeah. So we pulled one back so we've got a bit more time to play with it. But it is bangers. We've been working on this set for half a year now, in between songs, making sure stuff's happening and just have a nice clean performance. So yeah, it's going to be banging.
Incredible. So us as a podcast, we're ambassadors for the Sophie Lancaster Foundation. Are you familiar with Sophie and the story?
A terrible thing that happened. It's just, I mean, one of the heavy metal communities, one of the nicest, friendliest communities in the world. And it's nice to see that everybody comes together, and a festival like this that does something for such an important cause. And it's heavy metal forever, to be honest. And rest in peace, Sophie.
Absolutely. But we're talking to artists at the festival this weekend because we know, talking to people in the past, that everyone in this community went through shit growing up, having things said to them and whatnot. So we want to know if it still follows you to this day. Like, when you go to work, go to the bank, go to the doctors, whatever, are you still getting those side eyes, those comments, whatever it may be, because you've got tattoos, beards, long hair, whatever it may be?
Not anymore.
No, well, when we were growing up, it was us that had the long hair, and it was the other kind that had the skinheads. Now it's the other way around. You got all the other kind with the long hair. We call them the ket wigs. They've got the ket wigs and long hair, and we've all got the short hair now. So it's all changed. But yeah, we haven't had any issues like for a long time now. It just seems to be the younger ones. Like, there's no discipline anymore, so nobody's taught respect. So there's a lot of. I think it's the younger generation that's still getting the root of it all now. So I don't know.
I'm big and ugly now, and I do not care. I've got 3 kids.
Ugly?
I do not care anymore. I've given up. So if anyone tried to bully me today, it would be really difficult for them and very painful. So no, but our songs talk about stuff like depression, maybe not saying the right things at the right time, and not being happy with yourself, and just like liars and how you would deal with them. But no, we've grown up. Things don't really affect us anymore, I would say. We're immune to it now. Maybe.
I think that might be part of it as well, to be fair, because we dealt with it when we were younger. Now we're older, it's like, whatever.
Experience, mate.
You just no longer care anymore.
Yeah.
That might be a big part of it. But obviously, when we were growing up, and what happened to Sophie back in 2007, you fast forward to 2024, the world's a very different place now.
Yeah.
In so many different ways. So, for the people growing up, do you think it's easier to be part of this community now? Or still a lot of challenges out there, do you reckon?
I reckon they'd be nervous to do it. They haven't got the younger generation hasn't got as much resilience these days. They need to get over that and just get involved. But most of it is just being a part of the community. We played last week in Cheltenham and Bristol, and every band that we played with was absolutely solid. Nice guys, no infighting, no people giving you side eyes. It was just perfect. We've had some gigs with some bands that, a couple of bands don't really care and they don't really want to mingle. But you live on, you move away, you just get on with it. People need to just get involved, simple as.
That was the Scorer show, wasn't it? The Frog.
Oh, amazing. scoring was so cool.
Yeah.
So cool. And the Bristol show, we met Born Zero for the first time, and then they lost their heat, their final, and then they got asked to jump in last minute. I was like, yes, lads, get in! So we were made up for them. I just seen them before, and I was like giving them hugs, like, well done. Like, it does happen.
Absolutely. And you guys are here because you won your Metal to the Masses final.
Yep.
What was that moment like when you had your name called out?
We were absolutely made up. We felt like we deserved it. And no diss on anybody else. But we felt we'd learned enough from the last year's loss to right the wrongs. And we just played a consistent set for like 3 times on a bounce, with the light show, with the energy. The performance went really well. We couldn't say we didn't have a bad word to say about ourselves, so we felt good, and it felt good being our name being shouted. And we're all friends with the guys who unfortunately didn't make it, and we just gave our words of feedback. If they needed it, if they wanted it, they took it with grace, and that's what I said to them. Keep it classy and learn as much as you can from it, because you'll be back next year, and you might win next year.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's what I love about Metal to Masses as well. I see it myself when I see like the Birmingham heats. You see the same bands, because people don't give up. They're like, okay, didn't make it last year, fucking next year I will. People don't give up, and I love that passion.
Third time lucky for us, because we lost a Merseyside heat last year, which we deserved to lose. So it was terrible.
Final.
Final. Sorry.
It was the second heat though.
Yeah. And the year before we were in the North Wales, and that was just embarrassing. We did not deserve to go into the semi-finals. Oh, we didn't get to the semis, did we? No. So yeah. The past 2-3 years has been a whole new experience, learning and just righting the wrongs, perfecting everything. And now we're playing one of the biggest metal festivals in the UK or Europe or the world.
Clearly it worked. Before we let you guys get out of here, what's the future look like for the band now?
I quit! I'm leaving! This is as good as it gets!
Yeah. I've reached the peak, I'm going. Have me riffs.
To be fair though, content will keep coming. We'll step that up, because I'm sure we'll get a lot of heat after this. New songs. We've been working on a song for like 10 years, so that's got to come out as soon as possible. And we're going to ride the wave as long as we can. We want to be in this position. We want to play these gigs. Yeah. We felt that we really need to get to the next level. So we need to up our game. We need to look at ourselves and say, how do we get better? How do we make people headbang harder? Maybe we need to bring neck braces to the next gig. Who knows? We need a gimmick. That's what I'm trying to say.
Neck brace merch.
Black neck braces. Yeah, baby.
There you go. Yeah. You heard it here first.
We might do pink ones as well.
Guys, thank you so much for taking time and chance today. It means the absolute world. Thank you so much.
Massively.
Thank you. Cheers, mate.
My name's Aidan. I'm the lead singer of Nihilanth.
I'm Pete, and I'm the guitarist and backing vocalist.
Oh, bi-vocalist, did you say?
Backing vocalist.
Oh, backing, I said bi-vocalist. It's like, wow, that's a great way of putting it. Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us today on this beautiful Friday at Bloodstock.
Thank you for having us.
No, at all. How's your personal Friday treating you?
It's been great so far. It's been a slow day. Get up and bacon sausage bap, lie in bed.
Oh, I'm a sausage man myself.
Crispy bacon for me.
Yeah, no, decent. Smoked or unsmoked though?
Always smoked.
Good lad. Good man. Oh, I thought we'd have to cancel it there and then. Whew, I was panicking for a second, I'm not gonna lie. Excited for your set later?
Yeah, doesn't? Yeah.
It's kind of a dream come true, kind of a moment for us. Been wanting to play a big festival for a while, so this is really, really cool.
Is this your first time here?
Yeah.
My second time.
Your second time? Oh yeah, I think we discussed this over food earlier. Yeah, nice. How you finding it?
Loving it. Like it's as I said earlier, it really feels like a proper metal festival. Download is a little bit more lesser than that, I feel.
Yeah. Better choose your words carefully.
Yeah. Politest way to say that. We'll cut that bit out. Just.
Edit.
This feels like a proper metal festival.
It's intimate as well. It's intimate. It's small. It's nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I think that's what's good. You don't have to walk miles to get anywhere.
Yeah.
You don't have to wade through mud.
Yeah.
Which is always nice.
Yeah.
I mean, apparently it's meant to be unbelievable all weekend. So
exactly what you're thinking.
I think we're fucking spoiled, to be honest with you. So
it's looking good.
But compared to one of your own shows, say, compared to a festival set, do you change sets up accordingly? So just drop all the bangers in case people aren't so like familiar with themselves?
Well, we're sort of doing that naturally anyway with our newer songs that we're putting into the set. So there's older songs that we just don't play anymore because we don't really like them anyway. Natural progression. But yeah, it's just wham bam, thank you ma'am, half an hour, here we go.
Absolutely. Dropping our new single tonight as well. It's been released on the Friday before last week.
Yeah.
So yeah, can't wait to play it for everyone. Vibes.
Incredible. So us as a podcast, we're ambassadors for the Sophie Lancaster Foundation.
Yes.
Are you familiar with Sophie and the story?
Yes, yeah.
Excellent. So basically, we're basically just trying to find out a bit more about your part in the alternative community. So we're wondering, like, you guys are out there, tattoos, long hair for yourself, beard, like, do you still get treated differently because of the way you dress or wherever it may be? Even just like day-to-day life, going to the doctors, at work, whatever it may be. Is it something that still affects you today?
You definitely might get a few looks when you walk into like the doctor's office wearing a cattle decapitation t-shirt.
Yeah. Fair.
So depending on what t-shirts I'm wearing, definitely. But I think overall I don't pay attention, to be honest. I'm in my own world most of the time, so I wouldn't notice. But yeah, growing up I did definitely. It was a bit more of a stigma to it.
Yeah, we're the same. You don't get much at all in Northern Ireland for us at least. I haven't seen any of that. Back in the day, a little bit more, and people just kind of just calling us names or whatever. But I think it's more mainstream, like metal, and like I think you get Slayer shirts in like Primark and all that kind of thing. So.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I do sometimes wonder: do we not get these looks and things anymore, or do we just ignorant to it now because we're so used to it, just crack on with life?
I think there's a bit of it. You just after years, you just don't pay attention anymore.
Yeah. I think that's me. I just stick my headphones in. I'm like la 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 la.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, as beardy metal men, do you guys get any stops or? Oh,
No one's ever asked us. Back in the day, I used to do so. Used to get bullied quite a lot, actually. I never really had friends till I was 15 years old. Being ginger, I think, was the target straight away. Like, that's all I ever got was being ginger. So, and it kind of like drifts off. I had a guy. This feels weird being interviewed by you. I don't know what's going on. I was in Birmingham, funnily enough. I must be about 20 odd, and I had the emo fringe and everything. I was with my ex-girlfriend at the time, and this guy just turns around and goes, "Look like just a Slipknot, mate." It's like, it's because I do.
Yeah.
And he went,
Well observed.
"Oh, well, you want to fight about it?" Like, not particularly, no.
Logic.
He's like, "Oh, oh, go home then."
I got called a Nirvana freak back in the day, and I was like, "Fucking spell Nirvana."
Wrong. Give me shit, I'm counting.
That is the best comeback ever. Spell the band's name. Go on, there.
Name one song.
The most I get now is like, if you tell them what sort of music listen to, how can you listen to that? You can't understand a word they're saying.
It's just
One
noise.
of the most chill people you get. You get all your aggression out listening to Cal the Competition or whoever you may like, and
Exactly.
then you're like, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you."
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
Do you know how many subgenres of metal there are?
Yeah.
Trust me, there's something you can understand the words. Shut up. But taking it back, we all discussed then problems we had when we were growing up. Do you think now, because obviously it's a different world, 2024, compared to what happened to Sophie when we were growing up, do you think it's easier to grow up part of this community now, or still problems there?
Yeah, I think so. It's all the scenes seem to be so much more inclusive and supportive. Well, for our local scene anyway, everyone's welcome and everyone's got help and support. I'm sure it's still difficult for people, but I think it's way better than what it used to be when 20 plus years ago when we were rocking around.
So cool seeing kids here as well. I've seen like kids this size.
Yeah, little toddlers. It's cool.
It's cool.
It's amazing. That's one of my favourite things about Bloodstock, just seeing all the kids around like, you're
All
one
our
day.
little battle jackets and stuff.
If only you knew what those bands on there actually talking
Yeah,
about.
they probably have a song about cutting you up. But enjoy it.
What's that? You're wearing an aborted fetus t-shirt?
Yeah.
Well, isn't that adorable?
Dodge that one.
But bringing it back to you guys, obviously saying you released your latest single last week.
Yeah.
How's that been received?
Really well.
Had lots of people. Hopefully going to be on BBC introducing tomorrow.
Oh, incredible.
Got contacted yesterday and getting all the emails sent off and they're frantic kind of frenzy. But so hopefully tomorrow that'll be awesome. And
Video very soon.
Video very soon.
The next week, hopefully.
It's just incredible. We're recording quite late, so it's been like, need to get this out.
Rush.
Pressure and stuff. So finally got it out and everything's sorted. So I'm really happy with it. It's like definitely, it's not a huge leap from what we've been doing, but it's definitely the better, kind of more technical side of us. So
did you say today is the first time you're playing it live as well?
No, we played it live during the Medal of the Masters competition. It was sort of the tester for it. We're like, so it went down well. So now it's
this is the first outing of it as a release single.
Yeah,
amazing.
It was just an unnamed song until then. This is a new song, maybe. It goes down well.
See how you guys react. We might release it.
Yeah, why not?
So, do you say you won Metal to the Masses? Sorry.
Yes.
So, where was that?
Belfast.
Yeah. Incredible.
So,
what was that moment like when you heard the name called out?
Oh,
surreal.
I didn't believe it. I was like, no.
They were all standing there and we were just waiting for someone else's name to be called out.
Yeah.
And like, Nihilanth. They're like, oh!
Delayed reaction. I just assumed there would have been someone else, you know. Been in it before in previous bands, and it's just there's so many good bands that end up in the final that you're just like, you could pick any band really.
Yeah.
So it was just like, oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's so
The Bloodstock.
see the caliber of how many bands come through, like Northern Ireland and Dublin and stuff, just of awesome bands. Creating that scene and stuff, it's really cool. But it's well deserved.
Absolutely well deserved. Gents, thank you so much for taking the time out to chat with us today.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much.
Cheers,
We'll go to the next.
Thank you. Enjoy the set later.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
My name's Aid, and I'm the guitarist of Darkest Era, Irish dark metal.
Yes. Oh, nice. It's a pleasure to have another Irishman on the show. We love it. Perfect. How's your personal Friday treating you?
Yeah, it's great. Better than most Fridays,
Yeah.
so far as Fridays go.
Does it feel like real life here? Does it?
No, it's a bit of a sort of a weird, surreal circus, but like in a good way. No, it's great. Like there's a really good atmosphere. The weather's smashing, and people are having a good time, getting a few beers in, seeing some cool bands. So yeah, just seeing Grand Megas earlier. They were awesome. So
Decent. Nice. I was going to say to everybody, you were looking forward to checking out yourself.
yeah, well, I caught the end of Green Lung. Been listening to their new record quite a bit.
Yeah.
So that's been good. And then Grand Megas, and then later on Eternal Champion. So very much in the traditional heavy metal vein.
Yeah, but I've heard quite good things about them. So
Yeah, they're super
Eternal
cool.
Champion.
But today it's just stacked. Like you got Enslaved as well, Rotting Christ, and then Opeth later. So loads of good bands.
Yeah. Are you excited to play?
Definitely, yeah. It's our first time here, first time being here in general. So it's a really good slot, like 5 o'clock. People are just the right amount of, lubricated. So
Yeah.
it's,
Is that what they call it? Is that?
So it's perfect. We're really buzzing, I would say.
Ah, wonderful. Well, I wish you all the best with it later on. So, for a Darkest Era show compared to a Darkest Era festival show, do you change the set list up accordingly if people might not be so familiar with yourselves, say, so you want to just play all the bangers?
No, it's always all bangers all the time. Doesn't matter. It's a slightly different set list. So there's a couple of we rearrange it typically.
Okay.
And there's a couple of more introspective, doomy numbers that we maybe take out just for the sake of the flow of the set.
Yeah.
But no, typically not. It's more or less just like we do what we do. So it's more or less the similar show that you would get at a headline show. Just less of it. But we we kind of believe in just doing what we do and letting people decide for themselves. So we don't really do like a festival set, I don't think. So
Incredible. So this is a podcast. We're ambassadors for the Sophie Lancaster Foundation. Are you familiar with Sophie's story?
absolutely, yeah. For
So
sure.
basically, we're talking to people here this weekend. Basically, find out if being part of this community still affects you today. Obviously, when we were younger, most of us did have to deal with issues. But is this something that still affects you today, where you're treated differently, whether it just be a side eye, a funny look, the odd comment, or even if you're like the doctors, I don't know, whatever it may be, does it still affect you today?
Honestly, I don't think so much. I think that people are generally a little bit more accepting of subcultures nowadays. Generally, although obviously you only have to look at what's going on
in the UK right now to see that there's still some serious issues in terms of people accepting differences in their neighbour and whatever. So, but in terms of the metal community, I used to have long hair, and you get a lot more sideways glances back then, 15 years ago or something. Not so much now, but I think as well, when I was in school, it was more alternative. If you had tattoos and long hair, you'd be like, oh, this guy's into Slayer or whatever. But now you see somebody with tattoos and long hair, it's it could just be a bloke that works at a coffee shop and is into Taylor Swift or something, So I think that appropriation of certain aspects that were typically heavy metal, it's just more common now to see someone with long hair and tattoos, and that's great. That's a good thing.
It is great.
So I don't think, you don't get shouts of cut your hair and stuff that you would have in the past. I don't think, but maybe it depends on where you are. So
I think that might be part of it as well. But obviously, what happened to Sophie when we were growing up, and then you compare to 2024, the world's a very different place, as we were just saying. So do you think for the younger people, it's easier to grow up and be part of this community now than it was for us?
I would hope so. Certainly it's more accessible. So, when we were coming through, it was still a little bit niche. It really was underground. You had to find the other guy in school who maybe wore band shirts and knew who Dark Funeral were, or some bloke who had a Mayhem tape, or even listen to Guns N' Roses or whatever. So I think it's easier to access more obscure music and alternative music now for kids. But I think the flip side of that is that I think maybe kids don't buy into the subculture in the same extent. So what you notice is there's less and less metalheads coming through, because I don't think they attach themselves to the identity in the same way that that we did, certainly. Personally, I don't think that's the case. I think you have a lot more, because younger people are consuming music differently nowadays. It's not part of their identity in the same way that it was for us when we were growing up. It's you're a metalhead, this is everything that you're about. Now I think you might just get people that are a little bit more transient maybe, and that's just due to how they consume music and I think the changing priority of music within their... It's not the soundtrack to your life anymore, I don't think.
Yeah.
For a lot of people. That's my opinion on it. But
it's a really good point. I've never thought of it like that. It's a really, really good point. But bringing it back to you guys, you have a new album coming out in September. How excited are you to get this out?
It came out September a couple of years ago. So, yeah, unless we've recorded something that I don't know about and it's coming out.
Well, our research failed us.
Which would be, you never know.
Well, if that's the case.
No, our most recent record came out September 2022. It's called Wither on the Vine on Candlelight Records. It's been doing really good. I think it's probably our best record. We are the kind of band that we don't tour heavily. We sort of do select shows, festivals, and mini tours. So in a way, we're sort of still promoting it, still getting it out there. So, that's our latest record, and it's check it out, Weather on the Vine.
Well, I apologise. I obviously read something very wrong there, didn't I?
That's quite alright. You're forgiven. It's fine.
If that's the case, it came out in 2020. Is there new stuff on the way, or?
Yeah, there's some stuff demoed. Hoping to sort of record probably spring, early summer next year. Just depending on how quickly it comes together. But obviously we're a DIY part-time band or whatever, so people have real lives going on. So it just depends on how quickly we can work on it. But there definitely will be another album, and it won't take us long. So there's about 7 or 8 years between our second and third record. This one, I can safely say, it'll be out a lot quicker than that. So so we're kind of got some momentum on that at the minute, and hopefully recording next year.
Incredible. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us, my friend. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Harriet, bass player. Sam, apparently. Oh, not bass player.
It's fine.
Jess, drummer in Haxan. Haxan. The band's called Haxan, everyone. Everybody calm down.
Yeah, so we're here with Haxan. Set was phenomenal, by the way.
Oh, bless you.
Absolutely. No, seriously, I absolutely loved it. As I made sure I was down there for 10:30 to come see you all. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Early birds.
Does it concern you sometimes it being that early? Because obviously, like, people can be hungover to fuck.
It concerned me because I was having a bit of a mare because I realised I hadn't spoken more than about 15 words that morning. So I was like, and I got to sing fucking 8 songs. So I was like, yeah, like probably should do a bit of a warm up now. Like, it's weird being on that early, but it was full.
It is, but at the same time, when we were setting up, Harry said it doesn't feel like 9 in the morning. It just
we had so much adrenaline going through our bodies at that early in the morning. It could have been fucking any time of day. We wouldn't have had a clue what was going on. But
and it was dark in the tent, so that's kind of nice as well. Isn't it? It's not like everybody's like getting about their tents, and we're like, rah!
The thing about Bloodstock is everyone will fucking go and see anything, won't they? Regardless of how hungover they are,
regardless of how shit it is.
No, Sam, now. I enjoyed it, so
I'm glad
that's all
you
I'm
enjoyed
saying.
it.
So,
we had a nice time.
As long as Tom enjoys it, that's the main
Yeah,
that's all that matters. Nobody else, just me.
Do you know what? No, you no. You hate it. How dare you?
But are you enjoying the Bloodstock experience so far? You here all weekend?
We are. Yeah.
To be honest, it's been a bit of a grim one because we just set up 2 tents dressed in full gig get up. We're very sweaty and gross.
in the sun. Yeah.
But we played in Bloodstock 2021. It was just after like lockdown and everything, and we were in what is now the EMP stage, and
Skindred opened for us.
Fair play to them. That's nice of them.
They did us a solid and put a shift in, and they opened for us, and we went on straight after them. So technicalities are being a different stage and stuff, but yeah, it was good. But that stage was fucking sick today. The sound was phenomenal, like on stage, and like the crew were amazing. So like it was like a well-oiled machine. So
I think we were worried because we had such a good slot on the smaller stage last time we played. Yeah. We were like, maybe we've just got a good crowd by chance. There's nothing going on the main stage at the moment, so they're here.
Skindred weren't on it.
Skindred went on, and Devon Townsend wasn't immediately afterwards either. But like, I don't know, it was like quite surreal to see so many people that early in such a big tent as well. It means that the first time we played wasn't just a fluke.
And people were up for it as well. They were shouting and shit. So can't ask for anything more.
Knew the words. 12 songs.
Which is always wonderful.
It's amazing. Yeah.
We didn't know the words.
We didn't. Don't out me as a semi-professional. Just
help me out, guys. Help me out.
Well, maybe if you touched me more, I don't know.
Right, not now.
Not while we're rolling.
Not now.
Do you change your setup accordingly though? So obviously for a Haxan show compared to a festival set, people might not be so familiar with yourselves. So it's drop all the bangers.
We didn't drop all the bangers. They're
all bangers.
We dropped 2 new ones in today, just sandwiched in the middle, that we've never ever played before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was.
They're new bangers.
But yeah, they're bangers of the future.
Future bangers.
That's got to be the name of the new album.
Yeah, it was very difficult. We've kind of evolved because it was very difficult for us 10 years ago to get a half an hour set. We didn't have enough material.
And this time we were practicing and we ran over.
We
gotta fucking streamline it. Yeah.
Good problem to have.
Yeah, definitely.
No time for talking, just play.
Yeah, we're like,
no time for breathing or drinking.
Who gives a fuck what this next song's called? Just fucking play it.
So, us as a podcast, we're ambassadors for the Sophie Lancaster Foundation. Obviously, you opened that stage today. Are you aware of Sophie and the whole story?
Yeah.
So, basically, we're talking to artists this weekend because we all know if you're part of this alternative community, you were treated differently when you were younger growing up. We all went through it. But we're trying to find out if that is something that has stuck with you now. Is this something that still happens today? You go to work, you go to the bank, you go to the doctors where you're given that side eye, a funny look or comment. Is that something that still follows you today?
Actually, probably, yeah. Like, obviously, we're up against it to a degree anyway because we're all female band, so we still get derogatory comments and stuff like that. But to be honest, it's water off a duck's back at this point. But it shouldn't have to be. Like, people should just keep their fucking mouth shut. Do you know what I mean? But like, unfortunately, yeah, we do face it. And probably even in we're in quite sort of male-dominated industries in what we work in. So I think it probably carries across to work as well. But like, yeah, I think obviously it gives you a bit of a thicker skin, unfortunately, like if you're subjected to it probably more than others, but
I was going to say, we don't really register it at the moment, I think because of the things that you go through in school, where you're just like constantly subjected to little side remarks. I think I got away with it quite lightly, although there was a little bit of like, oh, you're fucking emo or whatever it is. But yeah, nothing compared to a lot of my friends who might have, you know, suffered a little bit more with it. But you, like Sam says, you build up such a thick skin.
Yeah.
But you should always just take stock of like, no, this isn't right, and to be treated different just because of the way you look or the music that you like, whatever it is. It's still very prevalent, I would say. And you take it for granted coming to a festival like this because everybody around you is the same, and you're like, no, we're accepted, but it'll only take me to go back to work on Monday, and it's a complete, and you have to put on a totally different skin.
Absolutely.
To be accepted.
It's one of those things, like you were saying, a statement we've heard quite a lot of. It's part of the territory. Why the fuck is it part of the territory?
Yeah, why? But unfortunately, if you're anything that's slightly different, it doesn't matter what it is, does it? Anything that's not the norm.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
But it is, isn't it?
Yeah. But obviously, when that happened to Sophie in 2007, and when we were growing up, the world now in 2024 is a very different place. So do you think it's easier now to grow up as part of this community, or still a lot of work to be done?
It's just different. The internet is brutal, and I think that...
As I say, it's just as bad because of the internet. Because
but also it is, I don't know,
screens.
it's like almost like a facade of everybody being more accepted, but I also feel like we're more divided because of that as well, and everybody kind of forms into their own little niche groups. But it's just different. I probably wouldn't say it was better or worse. I think the internet has just got a massive part to play in it still being very, very brutal.
Yeah, you can go, you know, like in the 90s and the early 2000s, you can go home and shut your door. But now
you take it home, you're on your phone, it's in your hand, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Get away from it.
I think it is all still there, it's just on a different platform. It's just not happening in the streets anymore.
I think it probably still is to some degree, but it's more, you know, people hide it behind the screen, isn't it? You can say what you want. It's
Absolutely. Keyboard warriors, I believe the phrase is. Yes. Absolutely.
But then they'll say some shitty comment, put their phone down, not realising it'll stay with the person they've said it for like X amount of time. But
we give as good as we get though.
Yeah.
To be honest, you know, we're old and ugly enough now to know that you know you can hit these people that are sad enough to pick on you just as hard back, and I think it's not as easy for me to say because I'm an asshole, but
can confirm. I mean, this is probably the time to tell you that Harriet's bullying me. So.
Shut up, you fucking idiot.
See what I got to put up with?
It's all said out of love, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, what's the future looking like for you guys now going forward? Breaking up on the look of it.
No, I think we're definitely on an upward trajectory. Some of the new stuff we've played today, we're going to finalise then. I'll record it, put it out as an EP. So there'll be a tour and some videos and stuff to go along with that. We've got quite a few more festivals booked in. We've got a German tour next month. So there's quite a lot of stuff going on, like in the pipeline and behind the scenes and stuff like that. So we're just chipping away at it, like, and enjoying it along the way.
Australia next year.
Oh yeah, Australia next year. So good stuff and good stuff coming up.
Incredible. I can't wait to see where you guys go. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time.
No, thank you for having us.
Really
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I have to do that.
We're going to go and hang out by the grit bin now.
Hi, happy to be here. My name is Jean-Paul Gaster, and I play drums in the rock band Clutch.
And it was absolutely wonderful to have you. Thank you so much for being a part of our show today. We massively appreciate it. But how's your personal Friday treating you so far?
It's good now. For a moment, I had lost my phone.
Oh, no way!
Yeah, but I found it.
Oh, good. It wasn't like another pocket or anything, was it?
No, it was actually on the fairground, on the festival grounds. One of the guys actually it ended up in Lost and Found.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's all good now.
Oh, dude.
I would almost rather lose my passport than my phone.
I don't want to go home. I'll stay here. Oh, at least you found it. That's the main thing.
It's all good. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I was about to ask, how are you feeling about later? Excited?
Absolutely, yeah. It's the first festival we've done this year over here, so that's exciting. Beautiful day. That doesn't always happen here in England. So it's going to be great. Very much looking forward to it.
I think we look at the sun and go, what is that? Yeah. What's it doing here? We don't get this. There's a redhead. Just melt immediately. But obviously, you've been around for a while, so obviously your back cat is massive.
Yep.
For set lists for festival shows, do you struggle to pick what to play, or do you have like Old Faithful kind of thing?
No, we change the set list up every night. So each night there's a different band member who's put in charge of making the set list.
Okay.
This one just happened to be my set list.
Oh, okay.
And we're actually getting ready to do a tour back home in which we will play our Blast Tyrant record in its entirety.
Oh, amazing.
So as a way to sort of warm up to that, we're going to play a few of the songs that we haven't done in a while. Specifically, we'll do Mercury and Spleen Merchant tonight. Those are ones that we've definitely played over the years, but recently not as much. So we'll try to rehearsal those. It really just depends. It kind of just like whatever you feel like playing. Maybe even playing something that has been out of the mix for a while and it's feeling good. So we'll put in something like that. Impetus is on there tonight. I thought that might be appropriate for a festival such as Bloodstock.
Yeah. So doing that though, having different members of the band pick the set list, have you had the time where someone's gone, we're going to play this? You're like, I can't remember how to play this. It's been so long.
Yeah, of course. and that's what sound checks are for. And so that happens all the time. But that's kind of what makes it fun. The idea is to sort of challenge ourselves. I think the audience has come to expect that from us. They don't want to just see us get up there and play the same 20 songs and say the same things in between those songs. And to me, that's that doesn't feel rock and roll. That feels boring to me. And we're all of the same mindset, where we'd rather do something a little different each night and give the crowd a unique musical experience. The set that we played tonight is only going to happen here tonight. We're going to have another gig coming up in a day or two, and that set list is going to be totally different.
That's amazing. It's funny you say that about the speech thing. You see some bands have set lists, and then in between songs is speech about such and such. Always makes me laugh. But us as a podcast, we're ambassadors for the Sophie Lancaster Foundation. Are you aware of Sophie and the story?
I am not.
So back in 2007, Sophie was a young girl walking through a park after a night out with her boyfriend, and they were beaten by a group of youths, and unfortunately Sophie lost her life. And this all happened because of the way she was dressed, because she was a goth. So the foundation was started by her mum to basically look after us in the alternative community and go, it's not right to be treated differently. It should be a hate crime because we are being treated differently because of the music we listen to. It's as simple as that. So when we're talking to bands this weekend, we're basically trying to find out, because let's be honest, a lot of us got treated differently when we were younger because of this style of music we listen to. But is this something you still experience today, where you might get a side eye, a funny look in the bank, or whatever it may be, just because you've got long hair, tattoos? Is this something you've still experienced today?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's kind of just goes hand in hand with what we do. Myself as a musician, other folks as music fans, we dedicate ourselves to this music, and maybe we get some tattoos along the way, or maybe we dress a little differently than other people do at the office. But in the end, I think the great thing about we'll call them rock and roll fans, because it's too difficult to say, but people who come to see shows and concerts, they're very passionate about this lifestyle, and it's sad to hear a story like that, certainly.
Yeah, it really is. But obviously, when we were growing up, and 2007 what happened to Sophie, 2024 is a very different world. It's a whole different landscape. So we're trying to, in your opinion, do you think it's easier to grow up and be part of this community now, or still work to do, do you reckon?
No, I think there's still work to do. I'm just speaking from the situation back home. As much progress that gets made, there are still groups that are very concerned about what other people are doing. And I don't really understand that part of it. But to answer your question, no, I think it's still difficult.
It absolutely. I think it's a weird one, isn't it? Because I think social media and the internet makes such a difference these days compared to when we were growing up. Because you're just open to everyone.
Yeah, I think you're right. And everybody has that desire to sort of express their opinion one way or another. They feel like it's necessary to comment on absolutely everything. And, you know, my mom always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I love that expression because it's so bloody true. It is so true. And personally, I just don't care enough to comment on what people are doing.
Exactly. I don't understand that. I don't have hardly enough time to check my emails, let alone get on there and comment on what other people are dressed like or what kind of drumming this guy does. Or
Yeah.
You know.
Don't understand it. Bringing it back to you guys, though, you have just come off a tour of Latin America. How was that for you guys?
Oh, an amazing experience. It's been quite some time. We wanted to be down there for, you know, since the inception of the band, really. And it was every bit as good as people said it would be. The fans are just, man, they take it to another level of dedication. You know, we were just talking about how dedicated rock and roll fans are. Latin American rock and roll fans are a notch above.
Oh yeah,
it was pretty amazing. The shows were great. Of course, the food was amazing, and it was a lot of fun. You know, it kind of reminded me a little bit of going back, you know, to some of the early days. You know, the venues are not what we would normally play in the States or here, for that matter. The gear was a little touch and go, but you know, I enjoy that part of the challenge. That's why we do what we do.
Yeah, Phil, I've always wanted to go to a gig in Brazil. Kiss are my favourite band of all time, and there's a video of them playing in Sao Paulo, I think it is, and fuck me, the crowd is insane. I'm like, I want to be there. That looks amazing. Can I go back to 1983 and go watch Kiss in Brazil, please?
I think our crowd was not quite as big as Kiss's crowd.
Probably not.
But the audience was amazing.
Fantastic. Just quickly before you let you go, what's the future looking like for Clutch now?
Well, we'll spend about a week over here, short and sweet. And then we'll go back home, and we're gonna co-headline with a band called Rival Sons.
Ah, yes.
Oh, yes.
And so that will be the tour in which we'll be playing the Blast Tyrant record in its entirety.
Amazing.
So that'll be fun. That's something we haven't actually done before. And you know, after all this talk about me saying how we're gonna change the set list every night, we're actually gonna play the same song anymore.
You're gonna get to the toilet. Oh, can we change it again?
What, again? This one again? But we did that last night.
JP, thank you so much for taking the time and chatting to us today. It means the world. It's been
Thanks very
fun.
much.
Thank you so much.
Very excited to see you guys later.
Thank you.